How did that one kid in your high school die? Story 1. Slipped while hiking on an outdoor education trip and was impaled by the cut stump of a yearling tree. He bled out before the soul could get him medevaced. Our school planted a tree on campus to honor him. Seriously. Reply 1. There was a girl in my high school who died while sunbathing near a cliff when a giant boulder fell on her, and they put a plaque on a rock at the scene to commemorate it. Same vibe. Story 2. Suicide. Was getting bullied. Sad part, no one cared. His death got completely overshadowed by a popular girl that ended up driving headfirst into a tree. They even had the marching band and sports teams wearing ribbons for her. What did he get, though? Oh, his father came by to talk about suicide and bully prevention, which got laughed at. Reply 1. Yeah, that's probably the worst thing on this thread. I think it's the idea how one person's life is valued more than the other. It says a lot about human beings. And that poor father. I just can't imagine. Reply 2. One of my teachers told me about 2 kids that died during the same year, like 5 years before I went to high school. Unpopular kid killed himself due to bullying and problems in his personal life, but only a few people were upset and school continued as normal. A month or so later, a popular guy was drunk and drove his car into oncoming traffic. Killed him and the person in the other car. They made an announcement, had a memorial, and brought in extra counselors to deal with how many people were losing their crap. Everyone talked about how unfair it was that popular guy had so much potential but didn't give a crap about unpopular guy. Super effed up. Reply 3. Everyone talked about how unfair it was that popular guy had so much potential but didn't give a crap about unpopular guy. He killed someone else and they honored him? Disgusting. Reply 4. Where I live, 28-year-old killed an 18-year-old while drunk driving. And one of the local guys who has his own news page posted about the beautiful 28-year-old with 3 kids who had her life tragically taken away from her. He even said despite her working at a bar and possibly under the influence, but posted nothing about the 18-year-old girl who was the victim. Reply 5. This is so tragic and unfair. A kid who was in my daughter's middle school class killed himself at least partly because of bullying. She barely knew him, but we were worried that there wouldn't be a lot of people at the funeral, so we went, and the church was packed. It's really sad how he felt unloved and unpopular, but he actually was deeply mourned. I wonder what he would have chosen to do if he'd seen how many people went to his service. Maybe the same. Maybe not. Story 3. She asphyxiated from an unnatural position while her family was out of town. Rumor was drugs/drinking and she passed out. Her parents adamantly denied this and eventually posted her autopsy results to Facebook to stop the lies. Teenagers are mean. Poor girl fell asleep on her couch and suffocated herself in a freak accident. Reply 1. That sucks. I can't imagine how that must be for the parents to walk in and your daughter is dead on the couch. Reply 2. I almost had this happen to me once, and I assumed your body wouldn't just let you all the way do that without waking up, so I'm a bit disturbed to find out that might not be true. Like, I literally demonstrated to myself the dangers of leaving blankets and such in a newborn's crib, literally had that crap wrapped around my neck and was just choking myself for a while before I woke up enough to realize I could stop it myself by removing the blanket from my neck. But while I was asleep, I just dreamt I was being choked, but didn't know how. Like, can I not be trusted to have blankets in bed with me? But yeah, damn. Having a child die in a freak way like that. Reply 3. Yeah, the dream thing is real. My girlfriend and I fell asleep once while she was laying on my chest, and I had a dream that a chimp was casually sitting directly on my chest. Anytime I tried to brush it off, my arms would feel like they weighed hundreds of pounds each. Managed to somehow jolt myself awake and get myself away from the situation. Reply 4. I once dreamt I was scuba diving and my air tank ran out and I couldn't breathe. When I woke up, my fully asleep arm was blocking both my mouth and nose. Had to use my other hand to lift it off. So yeah, my left arm tried to suffocate me. Story 4. Accidentally shot himself while cleaning his hunting rifle. Thought it was a suicide at first, but they searched his phone and he was searching up how to clean it. Story 5. I've taught high school science for 30 years and sadly it's part of the job. Suicide and car accidents take so many young people. Reply 1. Never thought about the teachers who have to see that side of it so many times. That would ruin me. I might make it through the first suicide, but I'd have to quit on the second. Reply 2. It can get rough. I had an 8th grade student who committed suicide. One of the sweetest girls at that school. Bullied. Reply 3. Oh, I had never thought about teachers seeing it year after year. I lost 3 classmates in one car accident when I was 16. We only had 60 people in our school year and 300 in our whole school, 13, 17 years old. So it was a shock for us, but also the other schools around. The next year there was a suicide. Poor teachers. Story 6. It was a really good friend, a sweet guy, very smart. During his summer job, he slumped over the cash register with no warning. By the time they got him to the hospital, he was dead. Brain aneurysm. Incredibly tragic. Really made me think about how short life really is. Reply 1. I survived a brain aneurysm when I was 18, but I often think about how close it was. Really changes your relationship with mortality. Reply 2. That's how my husband died. He was 21 years old and we were out water skiing. It was also our 1-year wedding anniversary. Story 7. Climbed a mountain outside of town with friends. Stood on a huge rock. It shifted and flipped over, he landed underneath it, and it crushed him. Reply 1. The little sister of a girl I went to primary school with was playing on a pile of logs that had been cut down in the forest. The pile collapsed and crushed her. Her whole family was there. It must have seemed stable, so they let the kids climb on them. It was over 30 years ago, and I still think of her when I see log piles. Reply 2. That reminds me of another one. A girl in my sophomore class was riding a horse on her family's ranch with her little elementary school-age sister, sitting with her in front of the saddle. A rattlesnake spooked the horse, and it threw both of them. Her little sister died instantly of a broken neck, and the older girl had to carry her dead sister back to the house. Story 8. First 2. They were on their way to see their mother at the hospital, who just gave birth to twin girls. They were hit by a drunk driver who was on his 3rd DUI. The car caught fire, they were trapped in the back seat. The girls didn't survive. Just horrible. Their mom gives birth to 2 baby girls and loses her older 2 girls in one day. Heartbreaking. Third one was our freshman year. She was shot in the head by our other friend Brandy, who found her dad's shotgun, didn't think it was loaded, put it to Melissa's head, and pulled the trigger. Reply 1. I hate drunk drivers so much. One offense should be losing your license for life. I don't effing care about your inconvenience from the choice you made. It's not worth a person's life. Reply 2. 50% of the DUIs I arrest are already driving on a revoked license. They don't care, and will drive anyway, unfortunately. Reply 3. I remember being told a story about a man being pulled over getting his 20th DUI. He was brought to jail. Somehow he got out, stole a car, went to a bar, got drunk, and got pulled over again for his 21st. All within like a day or so. A deputy told me the story. I wonder if there is any truth to it. It probably happens like that more than we know. Reply 4. I'm sorry, but who the EFF puts a shotgun to someone's head? I don't care if it's loaded or not. I don't care whether you touch the trigger, that's just not something you effing do. Story 9. She killed herself. She was only in 7th grade. It was my senior year. She was a very sweet girl. She had slowly cleaned her locker out every day so her mom wouldn't have to. Reply 1. Absolutely heartbreaking. Middle school was tougher than any part of high school was for bullies testing out the meanest stuff because they don't know how to exercise limits yet, or just how hurtful something can be while they think it's funny. Story 10. Accidentally shot in the back by his lifelong best friend while hunting. One was helping the other through a barbed wire fence and forgot to engage the safety. They were both my friends. The other never recovered emotionally. Reply 1. If anyone reads this, if you need to cross a fence or gate while hunting, everyone with a gun needs to reach over the obstacle and place the gun on the other side, then everyone can climb over and retrieve their guns. It's stupidly simple, but so many people have been killed doing this, and I've witnessed so many people try to climb over one-handed, swinging a gun around with the other. Reply 2. I know a guy who went through that. He and his friend were shooting cans, and his gun went off by accident and shot his friend in the head. He did a few years in prison, but everyone pretty much agreed that it was just a tragic accident. Muzzle control is important. Watch where you point that thing. Story 11. He and his brother were riding jet skis. His brother jumped a wave and landed on him, cut his head in half. He was dead before the jet ski stopped moving. The day after the funeral, his brother disappeared. Edit because this blew up. This happened 25 years ago, and now I live 2,000 miles away from where it happened. When I say the older brother disappeared, I mean he wasn't how the next morning. I don't know where he went or what happened. He was considered a missing person last time I checked. I can't find him on Google or Facebook, so I assume he's still missing. Without revealing too much personal information, it happened in one of the southern states in a lake. I found out about his brother disappearing because my parents were slasher friendly with the local police department, so they got all the good gossip. Reply 1. Slightly similar story. My two male cousins, brothers, were on a party barge at the lake. Eldest jumped off the top of the boat, head first. Landed directly on younger brother's head. Youngest had a broken neck. Eldest died instantly, and it took 2 days to find his body in the lake. Story 12. Donnie was a sickly kid with a congenital heart condition. Very frail in appearance and soft-spoken. Friendly with everyone and liked by most. Fell over dead with a heart attack at school. One of the coaches did CPR until paramedics arrived, but didn't survive. Reply 1. We had a healthy, all-around average kid whose heart stopped at American football practice. School responded by putting an AED in the lobby, a 10-minute round-trip run from the field. 1 AED for 2,000-plus students nowhere near the athletics facilities. Story 13. Nobody died in school. 1 year later, 8 dead. 4 in a car wreck, 1 murdered, 1 suicide, 1 cancer, the other I don't know. But a pretty odd statistic. Reply 1. These things often happen in waves for some odd reason. Same in my high school. Series of drunk driving deaths all in 1 year. Story 14. Got her head chopped off while floating in the lake by a drunk jet ski driver. We got the next day off from school to mourn. A less popular girl was killed by a drunk boater the following week, and no day off was issued. Reply 1. A University of Utah professor had her legs chopped off by a boat. They left her to bleed to death. Other boaters tried to help her when they saw them circle back, find her, and then attempt to flee. Sad case. Reply 2. I hope attempt to flee means they were caught and punished, but I've lost most hope for karmic justice these days. Reply 3. Caught, yes. Punished, well, they got the maximum punishment of a couple years in prison and a few $1,000s in fines. You can look up more about the case if you want. Her name was Esther Fujimoto. Story 15. Brain amoeba. Went swimming in a very popular lake here in Central Florida. Apparently the water was too warm. When he went in for a swim, water got in his nose and the amoeba got in his brain. Was gone within a week. 6th grade. Rip J. Ovidio FLA. Reply 1. I already have this awful fear of going swimming in any way that's not a pool, and this just made it so much worse. That's so sad. Story 16. He climbed a power pole and touched a high voltage wire. He had so much makeup on in his coffin he was barely recognizable. To clarify, this happened long ago. As I remember it, he was a big fan of the old animated series Spider-Man. At the time, as I remember, there was some talk that he wanted to be like the villain Electro, and saw this as his way to it, but nobody really knows. Story 17. Ended up killing herself because she was constantly being sexually harassed at school, and the staff did nothing about it, even though her friends told the dean, principal, etc. Really sucked too. She was super funny and sweet. Story 18. One died during heart surgery. Another while riding in a car that got ran off the road by a semi. After high school, a girl got involved with a guy 30 years older than her, and he shot her before shooting himself because his wife found out. Story 19. Small town. 5,000. Right before graduation, we had a girl classmate that overdosed herself on pills and then shot herself in the head while sitting on the train track in which her car was hit by a train. Did not die. None of us ever saw her again, but years down the road, I had heard that she pretty much fully recovered. When it's not your time, it's not your time. Story 20. Him and another guy we went to school with burglarized a house and got into a fight about what stuff was whose, and the other guy shot and killed him. Then took him to his granny's house where he lived and hid him under a pile of laundry. Granny obviously finds the body and reports it to the cops.
Thanks for watching until the end. If you have a similar story to these that you want to share with us, please leave it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.